Hi, I am Ariel, and welcome to Bookish English. Today, you are going to discover your true English level. Maybe you are a beginner, maybe you are already intermediate, or maybe you are almost fluent. You don't need a teacher or a classroom for this. You only need your ears, your focus, and a few minutes of calm. I will read a few short stories, one for each level of English. Listen carefully and notice which story feels easy and which one feels difficult. The first one is very simple. If it feels comfortable for you, you are at least at the beginner level. If it feels too easy, move forward. That's how you'll find your level. And if you want to take a real interactive test with questions and scores, you can go to www.bookishtester.site. The link is in the video description. It will show your level and tell you what to study next. But for now, let's begin with the listening test right here. The first level is called A1, Beginner English. At this level, the language is short and clear. The words are very common. The sentences are simple, about daily life and family. So, relax, listen to this story, and ask yourself, do I understand it easily? If yes, your English is already at least beginner level. Here is the story. My name is Emma. I am 27 years old, and I live with my mother and father. We have a small brown dog named Bobby. He likes to play in the garden every morning. Our house is not big, but it is clean and quiet. We have 3 rooms, a kitchen, a living room, and my bedroom. My favorite room is the living room because it has a big window and a soft sofa. Every morning, I wake up at 7 o'clock. I wash my face, brush my teeth, and eat breakfast with my family. We drink tea and eat bread with jam. After breakfast, I go to work. My job is near my home, so I walk there. It takes about 10 minutes. I work in a small shop that sells snacks and drinks. I help customers, take money, and smile a lot. My boss is kind and often says thank you. At 12 o'clock, I eat lunch. I like rice, eggs, and sometimes a little chicken. I finish work at 5 in the evening. Then, I walk home with my dog waiting at the gate. He jumps and runs when he sees me. In the evening, I cook dinner with my mother. We eat together and talk about our day. After dinner, I wash the dishes and sit on the sofa. Sometimes, I watch TV, sometimes, I listen to music, and sometimes, I read small English stories. At 10 o'clock, I go to bed. I am usually sleepy, but I feel happy. My dog sleeps near my bed. Before I sleep, I think about my day and say to myself, my life is simple, but it is good. Now take a moment. Did you understand most of this story without help? Could you imagine Emma's day easily in your mind? If yes, that means your English is at least A1, beginner level. You can understand short and simple sentences about daily life, family, and routines. You are already building your English foundation. But don't stop here. The next story will be a little more detailed and connected. It will have longer sentences, more actions, and more vocabulary. If you can understand that one too, your level is even higher. Chapter 2. Now let's move to the next level. This is A2 Elementary English. If you understood the first story about Emma easily, then your English is already strong enough for this one. At this level, sentences are longer, and ideas connect more smoothly. You will hear about routines, free time, and small life experiences. So, listen carefully and imagine the story in your mind. Now here is the story for the A2 level. My name is Daniel. I live in a small apartment in the city. It is not big, but it is perfect for one person. There is a small kitchen, a quiet bedroom, and a living room with a big window. When I open the window in the morning, I can see the street, a few trees, and a small bakery across the road. The smell of fresh bread makes me happy every day. I work in an office that is not far from my home. Usually, I walk to work because it takes only 10 minutes. But if it rains, I take the bus. I like walking because I can listen to English podcasts on my phone. It helps me practice while I move. My work starts at 8:30 in the morning and finishes at 5 in the evening. In my job, I answer phone calls, write emails, and help my manager with small tasks. My coworkers are friendly, and we often talk during our lunch break. At lunchtime, I go to a small cafe near the office with two friends. We sit near the window, drink coffee, and talk about our plans. Sometimes, we laugh because one of my friends always tells funny stories about his family. After work, I do not go home right away. I like to go to the gym for 1 hour. I listen to music and run on the treadmill. It helps me relax after a long day of work. When I finish, I feel tired but happy. Exercise makes me feel strong and calm. Around 7 o'clock, I go home. The first thing I do is take a shower and change my clothes. Then I cook dinner. I like simple food, like pasta or soup. Sometimes, I eat while watching my favorite TV show. My favorite show is about people who travel around the world. I love watching it because I learn about new countries and cultures. On weekends, my life feels different. I do not wake up early. I sleep a little longer, make coffee, and open my window to let in fresh air. I like quiet mornings when I can think and read. I usually meet my friends in the afternoon. We go to the park, walk, and talk about our week. Sometimes, we go to the cinema or visit a new cafe. Last weekend, we went to a small restaurant that had music. The waiter was kind, and the food was delicious. I ordered rice with chicken and vegetables. We stayed there for 2 hours, just talking and laughing. It was a simple evening, but it made me feel thankful for my friends. When I am alone, I like to spend time reading English books or watching short videos in English. At first, it was hard to understand everything, but now it is easier. I always keep a small notebook with me. When I hear a new word, I write it down and look it up later. This small habit has helped me learn faster. At night, before I sleep, I think about my day. I ask myself what I did well and what I can do better tomorrow. I also try to remember one new word that I learned that day. I say it softly before sleeping, so my brain remembers it. Learning English has become a part of my life. I use it at work, on the internet, and even in my thoughts. Sometimes, I talk to myself in English when I am walking home. It helps me feel confident and brave. My goal is to travel abroad one day and use English to make new friends. I know it will take time, but every small step matters. I believe that learning a language is not about being perfect. It is about connecting, sharing, and understanding more people in the world. Every night, when I close my eyes, I smile because I know I am improving. Slowly, I am becoming the person I dream to be. All right, that was Daniel's story. If you understood it easily, you are already at least A2 level. You can understand connected sentences about daily life, work, and free time. You can follow stories that include small details and emotions. That is a big step forward. You should feel proud of yourself. But don't stop here. The next level will challenge you a little more. The story will be deeper and use more natural expressions. If you can follow that one, you will be around B1, Intermediate English. Chapter 3. Welcome to B1, Intermediate English. If you could understand the last story about Daniel without much difficulty, you are ready for this one. At this level, you can follow a story that goes beyond daily routines. The sentences are longer, the thoughts are more complete, and the person in the story begins to talk about feelings, work, and goals. So, listen carefully and imagine each scene in your mind. Now, let's begin our story for the B1 level. My name is Liam, and I work as a computer technician. I help people when their computers or laptops do not work well. I fix software problems, clean slow systems, and install new programs. I have been doing this job for 6 years now, and I still enjoy it. Every day is a little different. Some days, I fix small issues, and other days, I deal with very complicated ones. But each time I solve a problem, I feel proud because I make someone's day easier. My job starts at 8 in the morning. I like to arrive a little early, make a cup of coffee, and look at the list of tasks waiting for me. Some computers have hardware issues, like broken keyboards, and some have software problems. It is like solving a puzzle. You must think carefully and find the right solution. When I first started this job, I was nervous. I was afraid of making mistakes. But now I understand that mistakes are part of learning. Every time I failed to fix something, I learned a new way to handle it next time. That is how I grew into a confident technician. My colleagues are friendly and supportive. We often help each other. If one person cannot find the problem, someone else gives an idea, and together we find the answer. I think teamwork is very important in any job. When people share their knowledge, everyone improves. After work, I do not go home immediately. I like to walk to a small park near my office. I sit on a bench and listen to music or watch the birds. This short walk helps me clear my mind after a busy day. Sometimes, I call my parents and tell them about my day. They always say they are proud of me, and that makes me smile. When I reach home, I cook something simple, usually rice and vegetables. I enjoy cooking because it helps me relax. After dinner, I like to watch short English videos online. My favorite topics are technology, travel, and personal growth. I watch with subtitles first, then I try again without them. It helps me improve my listening and vocabulary. At night, I spend some time studying. I am taking an online course about new computer systems because I dream of opening my own business one day. I want to have a small repair shop where I can work for myself. I know it will take time, but I believe hard work always gives results. On weekends, I try to rest and do activities that make me happy. Sometimes, I go hiking with my friends. The mountains near my city are green and quiet. When we walk there, we talk, laugh, and enjoy the fresh air. Sometimes, I just stay home, clean my apartment, and read. I like to keep my space tidy because it helps my mind stay calm. I also like meeting people who speak English. I joined an online group where people practice English together once a week. We talk about different topics like culture, travel, or food. I used to be shy, but now I speak more freely. I make mistakes, but I do not feel embarrassed anymore. I know that every mistake is a step toward fluency. Learning English has changed my life in many ways. It has opened new doors for me at work and made me more confident. I can understand more things on the internet, and I can connect with people from different countries. It feels amazing when someone from another part of the world understands me. I always remind myself that English learning is not a race. It is a journey. Sometimes I move fast, sometimes slow, but I never stop. The secret is to enjoy the process. When you enjoy what you learn, your brain remembers better. Before I sleep, I write a few sentences in my small English journal. I write about what I did that day or what I want to do tomorrow. It helps me practice writing and express my feelings. Sometimes, when I read my old pages, I see how much I have improved. That makes me feel proud and motivated to continue. All right, that was Liam's story. If you understood it clearly, you are at least B1, intermediate level. You can follow longer stories, understand ideas and feelings, and connect one thought to another. You can handle everyday situations in English and talk about your experiences. That means you are doing great. But we are not finished yet. The next story will take you a little higher. It will include deeper ideas, reflections about life and work, and more natural expressions. If you can understand that one easily, you might already be B2 upper intermediate level. So stay with me, keep listening, and let's move to the next chapter to see how advanced your English really is. Chapter 4. Welcome to B2, Upper Intermediate English. If you understood Liam's story well, your English is already strong. You can follow daily situations, emotions, and ideas. But now, we will move one step higher. In this level, the English you hear will sound more fluent, natural, and expressive. You will notice longer sentences, new phrases, and deeper reflections about life, work, and freedom. Listen carefully, and try to imagine the story as if it is happening in front of you. Now, here is the story for the B2 level. My name is Nina, and I work as a graphic designer. For a few years, I had a stable job in a large company. I created advertisements, logos, and posters for clients. The salary was good, my coworkers were kind, and my office was clean and bright. But after some time, I started to feel like something was missing. Every day looked the same. The same office, the same projects, the same conversations. I felt like a small piece in a big machine. One morning, while drinking coffee at my desk, I looked around the room and realized I was not happy. I wanted freedom, creativity, and more control over my time. That day, I decided to make a big change. I quit my job and became a freelancer. It was one of the most exciting and frightening moments of my life. The first few months were difficult. I had no clients, no plan, and no idea how to start. I spent hours searching for projects online. Sometimes people replied, but often they did not. When they did, the pay was very low. Some days, I worked 10 hours and earned almost nothing. I cried quietly some nights, wondering if I had made the wrong choice. But deep inside, I knew I had to keep going. I told myself that success takes time. Every email, every design, and every message was a small step forward. I started watching free online classes to improve my skills. I learned about marketing, design trends, and how to talk to clients. Slowly, I began to understand that freelancing is not only about being creative, it is also about communication, patience, and trust. After some time, things began to change. My designs improved, my confidence grew, and clients started to come back. Some even recommended me to their friends. That was the moment I realized my decision was right. I was finally building something of my own. Now my mornings feel peaceful. I wake up, make coffee, and open my laptop. My living room is also my office. There is a big window that lets the sunlight in. On the wall, I have small paintings and plants that make me feel calm. I write my to-do list, check emails, and start designing. Some days I work for hours without noticing the time. Other days, I take breaks, stretch, or sit near the window just to breathe. When I get tired, I go outside for a short walk. I live near a cafe, and sometimes I take my laptop there. The sound of people talking and the smell of coffee make me feel alive. It reminds me that I am free to choose where and how I work. This freedom gives me energy. Of course, it is not always easy. Freelancing means being responsible for everything. If there are no clients, there is no money. Some months are busy, and others are quiet. In the beginning, that made me nervous. But now, I plan better. When I earn more, I save part of it for the future. I learned that balance is the key to peace. Sometimes, I miss having coworkers. Working alone can feel lonely. There is no one to ask for quick advice or share lunch with. But I learned to find connection in other ways. I joined an online community of designers. We share ideas, give feedback, and support each other. It helps me stay motivated and creative. Another lesson freelancing has taught me is how to believe in myself. When you work alone, no one tells you what to do or when to do it. You have to push yourself. You have to find your own energy. There were times when I felt like giving up, but I reminded myself why I started. I wanted a life where I could use my talent freely, and now I have it. In the evenings, I like to do quiet things. I close my laptop, cook dinner, and listen to music. Sometimes, I draw just for fun, not for clients. It reminds me why I love art. When I finish a small drawing that makes me smile, I feel a deep sense of peace. It is a simple happiness, but it means a lot. Looking back, I know I made the right choice. It was not an easy path, but it helped me grow. I became more patient, more confident, and more independent. I learned that success is not only about money, it is about living a life that feels true to you. Every time I finish a project or get a message from a happy client, I think to myself, this is what I was looking for. If you understood this story easily, congratulations. You are already at least B2, upper intermediate level. You can follow longer stories, understand emotions, and recognize deeper meanings behind the words. You can listen to natural English and still stay comfortable. But our journey is not over. The next story will take you into advanced English. You will hear more thoughtful language, stronger expressions, and deeper ideas about life and work. If you can understand that one too, you might already be C1, advanced level. Chapter 5. Welcome to C1, Advanced English. If you could understand Nina's story without much effort, you are already a strong English learner. At this level, you can follow longer thoughts, deeper ideas, and emotional expressions. The language now sounds more natural, almost like a native speaker. You will notice more complex structures and ideas that connect smoothly from one part to another. Now, let's begin the story for the advanced level. My name is David, and I work as a project manager for a technology company. I have been doing this job for almost 10 years. During this time, I have learned something important. Managing projects is not the hardest part. Managing people is. Projects have clear rules, numbers, and goals. People have emotions, fears, and different ways of seeing the same thing. That is what makes my job both beautiful and challenging. Every morning, I arrive early at the office. I like the silence before the day begins. I make coffee, open my laptop, and read messages from clients and my team. For that one quiet hour, I plan the day carefully. I check which projects need attention, who needs help, and what might go wrong. I believe that a calm start creates a calm day. When my team arrives, the atmosphere changes. There is energy, conversation, and movement. We work on many types of projects. Sometimes, we develop new software. Sometimes, we improve existing ones. My job is not to do the technical work myself, but to make sure everyone has what they need to do their best. I am like a bridge between people. I connect the designers, the developers, and the clients so that everything moves smoothly. Over the years, I have learned that leadership is not about control, it is about trust. When people trust you, they will tell you the truth. They will share their problems and take responsibility. But trust does not come fast. It takes time, honesty, and consistency. You cannot just ask for it, you have to earn it every day. When something goes wrong, I try to stay calm. If I panic, the team will panic too. I listen first and speak later. I have learned that when people feel heard, they usually find their own solutions. Most problems at work do not come from lack of skill but from lack of understanding. So my first goal is always communication. One project I remember very clearly was 2 years ago. We were preparing to launch a new software system. Everything seemed perfect until 2 days before the release, the system suddenly crashed. Everyone was tired and worried. Instead of pushing harder, I told the team to take a short break. We went outside, ordered food, and talked about other things. After 1 hour, a developer suddenly realized what the issue was. We fixed it in 10 minutes. That day, I learned that sometimes progress happens when you stop forcing it. Another big lesson came from failure. Once, we lost a major client because of a misunderstanding. I felt terrible. But instead of blaming anyone, I asked the team what we could learn from it. We realized we needed clearer reports and better follow-up. The next month, our process improved, and we never made that mistake again. I learned that mistakes can be teachers if you have the courage to listen to them. After work, I like quiet time. My days are full of meetings and talking, so in the evenings I prefer silence. I go for a short walk, read a few pages of a book, or cook something simple. Cooking helps me think. The smell of vegetables and the sound of the pan calm my mind. I also enjoy reading psychology and leadership books. They help me understand people better and reflect on my own behavior. Sometimes, I look back and think about how much I have changed. When I was younger, I thought being a leader meant giving orders. Now I know it means creating an environment where others feel safe to grow. I no longer try to be perfect, I try to be real. I try to listen more than I speak. I try to appreciate small progress instead of chasing big achievements all the time. One thing I tell my team often is this: success is not just about finishing a project. It is about how we treat each other while doing it. When a project ends, what stays in our minds is not the numbers but the people. The friendships, the lessons, and the shared moments of laughter and pressure. Those are the things that matter most. Working in technology has taught me that change never stops. Every week there is something new to learn, and that is the beauty of it. Growth never ends. The same is true for English. There is always a new word, a new idea, or a new way to say something. That is what keeps learning exciting. If you understood this story comfortably, congratulations. You are already at least C1, advanced level. You can follow deep reflections, complex sentences, and emotional expressions with ease. That is an amazing achievement. But we still have one final story left. The next level is the highest one, C2, Expert English. At that level, English becomes soft, emotional, and almost poetic. You will hear rare expressions, gentle rhythm, and deep thoughts about life and time. Chapter 6. Welcome to C2, Expert English. If you have understood everything so far with little or no difficulty, then your English is already very advanced. You can follow natural conversation, understand complex stories, and feel the emotion inside the words. But this level is about more than vocabulary. It is about feeling the rhythm, the tone, and the meaning behind the sentences. English becomes softer, more expressive, and more emotional here. Now, let's begin the final story for this level. My name is Elena, and over the years, I have realized that life is not only about reaching goals, it is about understanding what those goals mean. When we are young, we think every choice leads to something better. A better job, a better city, a better version of ourselves. We move quickly, always chasing the next thing, never stopping to look behind. But time has a way of teaching us that progress also has a cost. Every new door we open means leaving another one closed. For a long time, I thought I was chasing success. I worked hard, changed cities, and took every opportunity that came my way. I told myself that movement was the same as growth. But deep inside, I was running from something I did not want to face. Silence. I was afraid of quiet moments because they made me listen to my thoughts. One morning, I woke up in a new apartment in a new city. The sun was coming through the curtains, and the air smelled of rain. I stood near the window and realized I did not know what I truly wanted anymore. I had everything I thought I needed: a good job, a comfortable home, and a busy life. But I did not feel alive. I felt like I was living in fast motion, always moving but never arriving. So, I started to slow down. I stopped saying yes to everything. I started saying yes only to what made me feel peaceful. I began to write every morning, not for anyone else, but for myself. At first, my words were confused and heavy, but over time they became clearer. Writing became a mirror for me. It showed me what I was running from and helped me understand my own voice. I also began to notice small things that I had ignored before. The sound of rain on the window, the smell of coffee, the color of the sky just before sunset. These moments taught me that peace is not found at the end of the road, it is found in the steps we take every day. Now I live differently. My mornings are slow and simple. I make coffee, open the window, and sit in silence for a few minutes. I do not rush to check my phone or my emails. I just breathe and watch the light move across the floor. That small moment feels like the most honest part of my day. It reminds me that life is already happening, even when nothing big is going on. I still work as a consultant, but I no longer see work as pressure. It is practice. I try to find meaning in small things. Every project, every conversation, every challenge is a chance to learn more about myself and about people. I used to think progress meant speed. Now I know it means awareness. Outside of work, I read and write. I write about the past to understand it and about the future to make peace with it. Sometimes I write stories that no one will read, but I write them because they help me see life more clearly. I have learned that not everything has to be shared to have value. Some things are beautiful simply because they exist. I also learned the value of quiet. There was a time when I thought silence was empty. Now I see that silence is full of truth. It is in silence that I hear my real thoughts. It is in silence that I feel close to myself. Recently, I started to think about time in a new way. I used to believe that time moves forward and we move with it. But now I see that time is like an ocean. Some moments feel wide and endless. Others disappear before we notice them. The quality of time does not depend on what we do. It depends on how awake we are while doing it. I no longer try to collect things or achievements. I try to collect moments of understanding. Growth, to me, is not about adding more. It is about letting go of what is not needed. When we make space inside ourselves, peace can finally breathe. I have learned that freedom is not doing whatever we want. Freedom is realizing that we do not need everything we once thought we did. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing what truly matters. Some people call this wisdom. I call it peace. It is not something that waits for us at the end. It walks beside us in every breath, every smile, every quiet morning light. If you understood this story easily, congratulations. You are already near C2, expert English level. You can follow emotional and abstract ideas, notice rhythm and feeling in speech, and understand deep reflections. That is the highest level of fluency. But remember, even at the top, learning never ends. There is always something new to discover, something new to feel. English is not just a skill, it is a journey, a way to see the world through different eyes. Now we are almost at the end of our test journey. In the final chapter, I will share a short reflection and tell you how you can test your level officially on my website. Let's finish this journey together. Chapter 7. We have now reached the final part of this journey. You have listened, imagined, and tested yourself through different levels of English, from simple daily stories to emotional reflections about life and time. You started with short and easy sentences, and now you can understand deep thoughts, long ideas, and fluent expressions. That means you have grown as a learner, even while simply listening. In this moment, I want you to take a breath and think about how far you have come. Maybe you began this video with doubt, wondering how much you really understood. But now, you have listened to 6 stories with different emotions, voices, and meanings. Each story showed you a mirror of your progress. Every level you understood clearly means a new part of English has become yours. The truth is that learning English is not about racing to the end. It is about transformation. It changes the way you see the world. It changes the way you think. Every time you understand something new, you are opening a small window to a bigger world. And that is what makes this journey special. When you started at A1, English was like a small garden with simple flowers. You learned about everyday life and short routines. Then, in A2, that garden grew bigger. You started to describe your days, your plans, and your weekends. By B1, you began to think in English, to understand feelings and small life lessons. In B2, you stepped into a world of confidence and independence. You saw how English can express emotion and personal growth. At C1, you understood not only what was said, but also what was meant. You could follow reflections, connect ideas, and feel meaning behind the words. And finally, at C2, you reach the level where English is not only a language, it becomes a part of your identity. It becomes the voice of your thoughts, dreams, and emotions. You have done something amazing just by staying here and listening until now. This shows discipline, patience, and curiosity, which are the heart of true learning. You should be proud of that. But remember, even the best learners keep learning. English has no finish line. It grows with you, and you grow with it. Now it is time to check your level officially. You have already listened and felt which story was easy and which one was a little difficult. But to know your exact level and get personal feedback, visit www.bookishtester.site. The link is in the video description. There, you will find a short and fun test. It will take only a few minutes, and at the end, you will know your level from A1 to C2. You will also get a small study plan that tells you what to do next. This test is not about right or wrong answers. It is about understanding yourself. When you know where you are, you can see clearly where to go next. Some people stop learning because they do not know what their next step should be. But you do not have to stop. Once you know your level, you can build your next goal step by step. If you are at the beginner level, do not feel small. You are starting something beautiful. Every expert was once a beginner who decided to continue. If you are at an intermediate level, celebrate that. You can already understand and communicate with people around the world. If you are advanced, stay humble and curious. True fluency is not about knowing everything. It is about never losing the desire to learn more. As you finish this video, I want you to remember one thing. Fluency is not a prize waiting at the end of the road. It is a way of living. It is in the way you listen, the way you speak, the way you think in English. Every word you learn, every sentence you practice, every story you listen to becomes a small piece of your new voice. You are not just learning English. You are building a bridge between you and the world. You are learning how to understand people, how to express feelings, and how to connect across cultures. That is something powerful and beautiful. When you finish watching, go take your test at www.bookishtester.site. See your level, celebrate it, and then start learning again with new energy. You can also share your result in the comments below. Tell me which story felt easy and which one felt challenging. I would love to know where you are in your journey. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Bookish English. This channel is made for learners like you, people who want to grow with confidence and joy. Every week, I post new videos with stories, lessons, and practice materials that make English learning simple, real, and fun. As we end, I want you to take one final deep breath and say this softly to yourself. I am improving every day, because it is true. No matter what level you are moving forward. Step by step, word by word, your English is becoming stronger. Thank you for joining me today and for walking through all the levels with me. Keep learning, keep listening, and never stop believing that you can do this. I am Ariel, and this was your English level journey on Bookish English. I will see you in the next video. Until then, keep your curiosity alive and your heart open to learning. Because English is not just a language, it is your key to the world.